Thank you for stopping by my tutorial on Grunge Paper Roses. These are the little ditties that we're going to be making today. See all the shimmer and bling that is on them? They are just fabulous. So in order to create these little ditties, what you're going to need is some grunge paper. You're going to need a mini mister filled with a re-inker mixture. You're going to need some glossy accents. And you're going to need liquid pearls or dimensional pearls depending on the color that you want to put on the petals of your roses. So let's get started here. First thing we're going to do is we're going to create our re-inker mixture inside of our mini mister. I label my mini misters as to the color that's inside of them just so I know my Distress Inks by color name, and it's just easier if I look for the name. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to take the cap off, you're going to take one dropper full of ink, and you're going to squirt it inside your bottle. And then what you're going to do is you're going to fill it with water up to about 1/4 of an inch from the edge right here. Okay, so I'm going to go do that and I'll be right back. Okay, so you'll see that I have now my mini mister filled with water and re-inker ink, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to tap my Perfect Pearls on the table. You want to make sure that the writing is on the bottom side of the container when you open it. So we're going to just tap on this, open this up, and then I take a popsicle stick and just dip it into the beautiful powdery mixture, and then I drop it down inside of my re-inker. I can have a tendency to be a little heavy-handed with my Perfect Pearls because I like glimmer. So it's just a beautiful shimmery creation that you're making. So then we're just going to kind of shake that up, and you will just see the Perfect Pearls rolling around inside of the re-inker mixture. And it truly is a beauty to behold. Alrighty, I'm going to get ready to create my grunge paper flower. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to take our grunge paper. I've cut this a little bit larger than 1/2 inch wide, and this is about 9.5 inches long. And I'm just going to take it and I'm going to tear it right down the center. I'm not going to be overly concerned as to whether I'm tearing straight or not. And the beautiful torn edges are going to give my petals just this amazing texture to them. So we love the whole grungelicious thing. Okay, so while holding the grunge paper with the paper going off to the left, we're going to just roll this to create a little circular center here. And you can see the circle that I've got. Then what I like to do is I like to just take the grunge paper and twist it. Because as we know, grunge paper has a bit of memory to it. So it's just easier if we already have it moving in this motion while we're trying to do this. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to twist this, and we're going to begin to work this around the center. Okay? And then we're going to twist it again. And these little twists are just creating petals. Now, I prefer to hold this in my hand while I'm doing this. Other people may find that it will work better if you just take a piece of paper and put some hot glue on there and work it that way, but I just like to continue to manipulate my flower as I'm working. And I don't like it wound too tight because I want those petals to just kind of pop off around the edges and give you that beautiful rose effect. See how I'm just winding this around? I keep twisting it and winding it around. Twisting. Now, I'm going to get to a point and I want to make sure that I have enough of a little tail left here so that I can apply some glossy accents to the back of this and hook it down underneath to help anchor it. Now my little leftover piece is a bit long, so we're just going to kind of snip that off there. Okay, and you just kind of keep a kind of tight grip on your little rose. Alright, so what we're going to do is just put a little bit of glossy accents on there. Okay, and we're going to hold that down. And now you've created this beautiful rose. Okay, so from this point in time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go grab my box and I'll be right back. finally got smart because after spritzing everything that was on my work surface, I found this nice little cardboard tray, and now this is what I do all my misting in. Okay, so now we have that tail glued down to the back of our rose, and so now what we're going to do is we're just going to take a scrap piece of paper, and we're just going to make a blobby circle of glossy accents. And you don't want too much, but you do want enough so that your rose is going to stick to it. Okay, and then we're just going to stick that down in the glossy accents, and we're just going to hold it for a little bit. This pretty much sets up pretty quickly, which is part of the reason why I love glossy accents so much, but I do like to just hang on to it for a moment. Okay, and then we're going to set this aside to dry. So I'll be right back as soon as it's done. Okay, my rose is pretty well dry on here. So what I'm going to do now is I've got two different colors of my re-inkers. I have Worn Lipstick and I have Rusty Hinge, okay? So now what we're going to do in the process, we have those, but we now need to add highlights to our rose. Now I did that by using liquid pearls, and this is opal white opal that I'm using. So I just squeeze out a dab onto the edge of the paper, and I just take this and I dab this on here to give the rose petals highlights. And you don't need to gob tons of it on there, just enough to give it some highlights. So now we need to let that dry, and after that we'll give you the next step. Okay, so now my rose is nice and dry. I can tell by just tapping on it, and I don't get any excess liquid pearls on my fingers. So now we have this beautifully highlighted rose, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my re-inker mixture, kind of shake it up a little bit, and I'm going to spritz it. Now I want to spritz it in all different directions because we want to get into all the little nooks and crannies. I don't want any grunge paper color showing. Okay, so then we're going to set this aside to dry, and we'll be back to add another color after that's dry. Okay, so now the rose is dry. I used a heat tool to kind of facilitate the process, and I just love how the color attaches itself to the grunge paper, and then with the liquid pearls it kind of disperses it, and it doesn't really take on any of that color, so that you get this beautiful depth in your rose. Now I want to add a second color to it, and I did kind of peek around in all the little holes to make sure that all the color was on there and there wasn't any just plain grunge paper showing through. So we're just going to kind of mix up the re-inker mixture, and now I've got Rusty Hinge here, and I'm just going to give it another spritz, and then we're going to let that one dry. Now the one thing I have noticed is the more times that you add color to these, the more residual ink that will start to collect on the areas where the liquid pearl is. But here it is now with the two colors. So basically all I'm going to do now is I'm just going to cut off the excess paper. Making sure it's all behind the rose and not showing. And there you have it. There is your beautiful rose. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Go ahead, give this a shot, and create some beautiful grunge paper roses to accent your work.